I'm calling the meeting of the Foothill-De Board of Trustees to order. Thank you. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The board just came from closed session. We discussed an existing litigation pursuant to Government Code 5495.6.9 with case number 24CV 430-466 with legal counsel and voted unanimously to approve the settlement agreement to resolve this claim. That was all that was reportable out of our closed session. All right. First step, we have an action item to approve minutes. Let's do them individually since I know that I will abstain from the ones that I was not at the meeting. So can I get a motion to approve the minutes from March 13th, 2023?
Move for approval. Chang seconds.
Thank you. Moved by Casas, seconded by Chang. All in favor of approving minutes for March 13th, 2023, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Abstain. That's 2 abstentions. Maria, I didn't call for your vote beforehand, and I apologize for that. Student trustee? Aye. Thank you. All right. Minutes for March 28th of 2023. Do we have someone who might make a motion to approve those?
I'll move it.
Go ahead, Landsberger. And then Chang can second.
Moved by Landsberger, seconded by Chang. Student trustee?
Aye.
Thank you. Trustees, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Abstain. All right. Minutes from the last meeting, January 12th, 2026 meeting. Can I approve? Thank you.
This one I can second. So I'll
Okay.
second.
Motion by Casas, seconded by Gavatua. Student trustee?
Aye.
Thank you. Trustees, all in favor, say aye.
Yes.
Aye. Anybody opposed, say nay. Any abstentions?
Yes, I abstain.
I'll abstain.
Okay, 2 abstentions. Did you catch that, Ms. Olson? Chang. Thank you. Alrighty. I do not think I have any cards for comment for things not on the agenda. Is that right? Okay. Great. Let's move on to the approval of the consent calendar. Let me open it for folks, board members first who want to pull anything from the consent calendar.
Numbers 6 and 7.
Okay, number 6 and 7. Anybody else? Anything else? All right. Can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar except 6 and 7?
I will make that motion. Chang?
I will second.
Ms. Olson, did you get that? That was Chang, seconded by Gavatua. Okay, all student trustee? Aye. Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. All right. So Chancellor Lambert, items 6 and 7, do you want to do those now? The question is, can you share with that?
Yeah, I mean, just as someone who spends a good deal of his time wringing my hands over legal fees and looking at our annual budget and hoping we don't have to do an arbitration or anything like that, I'm just struck by the fact that these changes are more than double the amounts of the 2 items put together. And I would just like to hear, are there any particular sources or reasons why that extent of an increase? And I'm assuming these are annual contracts. Is that correct?
Yes, and notwithstanding the fact that this doubled the previous, the total amount is still less than what it was last year. So the original request that was put through was at a lower threshold just to get something started for the year. So, but I too am very mindful of what we're spending on legal fees. So, and hoping to keep it lower than previous years.
And to whatever extent the faculty association might be partially responsible for some of those larger fees, we'd be happy to have a conversation about that.
Absolutely. And we're now tracking them by case as well and matter. So I can tell you, where it's coming from.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions about item 6? Can I get a motion to approve item 6?
I am also very upset about these exorbitant fees. But at this point, we have no choice. So I'll move approval.
Thank you. A second?
Schenk, seconds.
Did you get that, Ms. Olson? Okay, thank you. Student trustee?
Aye.
Board, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No abstention and no abstentions. Okay, thank you. That passes. Item number 7, do you want to speak to that again?
Same question.
Same question, I assume?
If I, through the board president, if I can add, this is also dealing with a backlog of cases that the chancellor, myself, most of us in ELT inherited. So we're making our way through these. And so we shouldn't see as many going forward.
Thank you. I appreciate that you're faced with a backlog. Any other questions? Okay, can you get a motion to approve item 7?
I move approval.
Chang, seconds.
Did you get that, Ms. Olson? Thank you. Student trustee?
Aye.
Board, all in favor, say aye.
Yes.
Aye. Anybody opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Okay. All right, passes. All righty. Let's move on. Up next for us is information, many board policies. It looks to me that almost all of them are initiated by changes from the CCLC. Chancellor Lambert, is there anything you want to speak to on these?
So, Madam President, I just want to, thank Vice Chancellor Momjian and President Davison for their collaborative work to help us advance more of the policies that need to be updated, both board policies and APs as well. I don't know if you would like to add any additional comments, but we're making great progress. And I just want to thank really everybody across the district, the 2 colleges, central services, for really making great progress. Did you want to add anything? No? Okay.
Any questions from the board? Okay,
Thanks for all your good work.
yeah, it's an information item. Thank you. I know, I'm sure there's a backlog of these as well to tackle. So thank you very much. All right, well, let's move on to item number 17. This is a resolution authorizing trustees Lamberger's absence last meeting. Can I get a
I'll move
motion?
for approval.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. That's Casas and Blaze. Ms. Olson. Student trustee?
Aye.
Thank you. Board, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? All righty. Thank you. Passes. We're moving right along, aren't we? Here
That's
we are.
right.
Item number 18. Item number 18 is an action item. It looks like Chancellor Lambert, do you want to present this one to us?
Yes, I'd be glad to, Madam President. So as everyone is aware, last year, the County of Santa Clara, I believe the City of San Jose, and a number of other municipalities have been really taking an additional layer of examination of what steps they can take to provide better support for our citizens and residents in our community as it relates to federal immigration enforcement. As a result of that, we also looked at what approaches we might be able to take as well. Now, as we were moving through that process, now we got additional word that maybe increased activity may occur leading up to the Super Bowl, which kind of placed a greater urgency for us to bring this forward. I'd like to just acknowledge all of the employee groups. We've had conversations with each of the employee group leaders to talk about why we would not run this through the normal governance structure, which we would like to have done. But given the sense of urgency, we thought that it'd be better that we bring this forward now. And thanks to Trustee Guaptava and President Godfrey, we were able to get this all put together. And so, and I also want to thank Carla Maitland and Deanna Olsen for helping to pull it all together so we can bring it before you today.
Thank you. Let me open the floor to questions. Questions or comments?
Comment.
Trustee Casas.
At the CCLC conference, we were made aware that the Santa Barbara Community College District, the ICE came onto their parking lots without permission of the Board of Trustees or the administration, and came and did their whatever they need and then and left. So this is sort of an added layer of protection because we don't want that to happen here. And so I fully support this action.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? Yes, Trustee Blaze.
I'm really happy to see that we're passing through with this resolution. I think a question comes up in terms of the execution. So for the last point, it talks about district employees, if they notice that ICE is on campus or on the parking lot, they're required to inform the president's office, etc. But are the employees being trained on like what it looks like for ICE to be on campus? Like, do they know tangibly what that looks like? And once the president's office is informed and ICE remains on campus, what are the next steps we're taking? Because we've seen many cases where things have passed, like unmasking ICE agents, but ICE agents are still wearing masks. So I think I just wanted to add to that execution piece.
So like many other entities, I'll use Santa Barbara City College as an example of this to illustrate. So when they found that federal enforcement activities were happening through the staging at their parking lots, they, in one instance, they approached those federal officials and asked them to depart their parking lots. They left, but not entirely. And why I bring that up is, as we're noticing across the country, they're not necessarily following what the state or the municipality, or in our case, the community college would say. But that doesn't mean we don't continue to confront, but using our law enforcement to do that, or our security officials to do that, and then follow the proper protocols that are in place that the state set out. So that's why the president and myself, as the point of contact, we'll do everything we can within our authority to reinforce. So we will, with the passage of this, we're going to put signage up to make it clear that federal enforcement is not welcomed on our parking lots and public spaces. We will increase monitoring of those, especially as we go through this period with the Super Bowl, because it's an enhanced period of time. And then if we get confirmed instances, we can come back and do some increased enforcement. So I just want us to be mindful that we're taking whatever steps we think we can do. But in the end, as we've seen across the country, they don't necessarily follow those standards that we have in place. So I don't want to mislead folks, but we will take every precaution that we can with our own legal authority to do what we can to create a safe and secure environment for our students, for our community members, for our employees.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Any other comments or questions?
I just want to add one more thing is we're in the business of education. We're not in the business of enforcing federal law. That's up to them. And law states if there is a signed judicial warrant, we will cooperate. So we're following the law. We're just not doing their job. That's all.
Thank you. Trustee Kavatwa?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I'll get a couple of thank yous out of the way because I want to thank the administration, the chancellor, Deanna, Carla, for moving to agendize this so quickly, recognizing the urgency of it. And thank you to you, President Godfrey, for your invaluable partnership in drafting the language of the resolution and really driving this change forward.
Thank you.
Trustee Casas alluded to what happened in Santa Barbara, right? Which, I mean, the community is still reeling from what happened. And I think there's a lot of trust that was eroded, right? There were a lot of students who thought, you know, is our campus cooperating with ICE? Is that why they're here? And so part of the issue, I think, was that Santa Barbara City College was taken by surprise. And rightly so, because no school should ever have to expect or plan for something like this. I want to ensure that in the worst case scenario, we are not taken by surprise, that we have a policy in place in the event that we do, as the chancellor said, see as there are credible concerns, enhanced immigration enforcement in the lead up to the Super Bowl. So I think this resolution is a way for our district to kind of put into action the commitment we made back in April of last year when we passed a sanctuary district resolution. In that resolution, we said, you know, that we stand with our students, not just in words, but in action. And I think that is that action. I think this is our way. And I couldn't agree more with you, Trustee Casas, to say that, you know, we're an educational institution and our college facilities have one purpose and one purpose only. That is to help our students meet their academic, their professional, their personal goals. That's what they're there for. That's what we're here for. So, you know, we want to let our students know and the community know we don't condone immigration enforcement on our campuses. We don't welcome ICE on our campuses, and that we are here to serve each and every student who comes through our district, no matter who they are, no matter where they're from, no matter what their immigration status is. So I'd like to move that we adopt the resolution as it stands. And I'd also like to add to the motion direction to the administration to come back with a report on what are we seeing from other jurisdictions, mostly cities, but also other community college districts as well. What are they doing to implement some of these same protections for undocumented students to prevent the misuse of college and district properties for immigration enforcement, to come back to the board with that report.
I'd like to second the motion.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm pleased to report that the De Anza Academic Senate was able to put this on our agenda today at our meeting and move this through our process more quickly than typical as well. The general sense that I got from the meeting was that people really appreciated this as a very timely and appropriate response or potential response from our district to address some very real concerns that are impacting our entire community, our students, our faculty, our staff, everybody. During our meeting, the Academic Senate recommended its adoption by acclamation.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Any other comments or questions from our leadership here? Okay.
I was just, sorry, President
yes.
Godfrey, I was just going to add my thanks too.
Yes.
And again, you're making some remarks, I think, on behalf of our shared governance employee group. So again, the quickness of this came because of this time urgency, as you all heard. And I think we are unified, I believe, as employee groups, as a body, as a district. And I think that is so critical in the messaging then, right? And it reflects our values and our important priorities tonight. So thank you all for being part of it.
All right. I would speak, but I would be piling on. So the thanks to the staff who helped us do this. Thanks to Trustee Kavatwa for your partnership. Trustee Kavatwa, would you mind restating the action that you are moving for, just to make sure we have it on record for Ms. Olson, who's down there trying to take notes?
Yeah, so the motion is to adopt the resolution as written and to direct the administration to come back with an update on what other jurisdictions are doing to prevent the misuse of public facilities for immigration enforcement purposes, and more broadly to protect undocumented students.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. So student trustee, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Board, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I think that was unanimous. Okay. Opposed, say nay. Abstain, say abstain. Okay. Got it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, partners. I appreciate that. We're moving to item 19. This is an action item. On a piece of software, I think.
Yes.
I think you're on.
Good evening, Madam President and trustees. This is an item to authorize the district to piggyback on a contract that's held by the Foundation for California Community Colleges, which would be for a piece of curriculum software for De Anza College. And just to provide some context as to why we're here and having this conversation, earlier this year, we were contacted by the provider eLumen to let us know that they'd been acquired by a company called CourseDog, and that by the end of 2026, that software would no longer be supported. And so given the timeline for making a move, and that CourseDog is the successor platform to eLumen for curriculum management and integration into our Banner ERP system, we did look at the situation where we currently have two different curriculum management systems at our colleges. And of course, our long-term goal for all of our technology is to align to singular systems. In this particular circumstance, given the runway that we have to do an implementation and the work with the existing vendor sort of converting, we looked at the cost, we looked at the time and the length and scope of the project, and determined that we would need to start by February or March to be able to meet the end of year timeframe to be able to continue to support the important curriculum work that our faculty and our instruction staff are doing. So there may be a question as to why aren't we consolidating onto one platform? In this particular case, just given the amount of change management that's required, particularly for folks, especially faculty who are deep users of the curriculum management system, we just would need a longer runway. But ultimately, I think we will keep this on the radar and for future conversations. I also wanted to just mention that because the way the item is written, and I apologize for not sort of catching it earlier, what we're asking approval for is to allow us to issue purchase orders up to 5 years for the software, but it really is an annual renewal. So if there was a concern that we were being locked in for 5 years, for example, that's not the case. I just wanted to make sure that that was clear to the board.
Thank you. Questions or comments?
Well,
Trustee Casas.
I'd like the goal of moving towards consolidation, and thank you for your explanation. And I move for approval.
Other questions or comments before I seek a second? Leadership? All right, can we get a second then?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, moved by Casas, seconded by Gavatwa. Student trustee, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Board, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? All right, 19 passes. All right, we're going to move into business services and finance. We're at item number 20. Let's talk about 26, 27. This is an information item, by the way.
Board President Godfrey, members of the board, Chancellor Lambert, good evening to all of you. Just wanted to give you an update regarding the proposed budget from the governor for fiscal year 26-27 and what are the implications for Foothill-De as a community college district as a whole. We'll wait for the presentation to show up. No worries. Right, next slide, please. All right, so the overall state budget proposal for the state of California for fiscal year 26-27 is about 8.7% higher compared to current year 25-26. This is a significant increase in terms of the investments that the governor wants to put in place, considering that this will be his last budget year. As you know, he's going to be terming out as our governor by next year. This basically hinges on higher than expected stock market gains that he is anticipating, which is a little bit difficult in terms of what the LAO or the Legislative Analyst Office is saying. That's why there's a big difference between the budget forecast from the state governor compared to Legislative Analyst Office. But overall, there's an 8.7% general spending increase here from prior year that includes a cost of living adjustment across the board, not just for K-14, but also for the other state agencies. For California community colleges, the focus really is on maintaining the base funding. So basically workload funding. No new additional initiatives from the state governor, recognizing that he is considering all of this new money that is projected to be coming into the state coffers as one-time funding. He's a little bit cautious to commit one-time funding or fluid funding to ongoing expenditures. So the budget for California community colleges and K-12 or K-14 in general is purely more on maintaining the base funding and flexibility. However, he included in his proposal a 2.41% COLA increase on apportionments. That is the student-centered funding formula for community colleges and some select categorical programs. 1.5% growth funding is also included in his proposal. Additional 1% for this year, 25-26, and a 0.5% in 26-27 to account for the significant growth that the California community college system is experiencing in terms of enrollment. And largely, most of this is coming from Southern California. We're in a handful, probably more than 6 districts are gaining at least 2-digit increases in enrollment, growing in 2 digits or more. Also, this includes some one-time funding for select initiatives and also continuing the expenditures in funding capital outlay coming from proceeds from Proposition 2, which was approved by the voters last year. Next slide, please. Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry. So the key highlights is basically a significant reduction in projected deficit from $13 billion down to $2.9 billion. As you know, this is another year or a 6th consecutive year of the state projecting a deficit budget, which will not end in 26-27. 2 more years of additional years of projected deficit spending at the state level. Fortunately for K-14, we are protected by Proposition 98. Wherein some other agencies will be experiencing some cuts, including the UCs and the CSUs, but because of Proposition 98 that was approved by the voters, we are guaranteed certain level of funding. Now, the other piece important to mention is the higher expenditures next year is driven by projected higher expenses related to health and human services programs such as Medi-Cal and CalFresh to backfill the gap on funding that used to be funded by the federal government. Right. So I mentioned about Proposition 98. So K-14 is part of Proposition 98, wherein about 40% of the overall state budget is for K-14 investments. And recently, it now includes TK education. So it's now TK-14, not just K-14. There's still a tension between TK education funding, K-12s, and community colleges in terms of Prop 98 funding allocation because the governor has decided, and the Department of Finance, to fund TK first, whatever is left, split between K-12 and K-14, K-12 and community colleges. So it's not split 3 ways. It's more of TK first and then whatever is left between K-14. And so there's still a little bit of tension in terms of how funding is allocated appropriately to 3 segments of Prop 18. The general fund, there's a 10.5% increase in the general fund, 5% increase in local property taxes for next year. So the state is projecting that there will be a 5% increase in local property taxes next year statewide. But again, just Note of caution that this depends on region per region, depending on some areas wherein areas are growing faster than the others, then they will generate more property tax increases compared to the others. But overall, this is a good year for community colleges, whether you're apportionment-based or community-supported, just like us, basic aid, wherein there's an 8.6% total increase in community colleges funding. Just to remind everybody, we're still measured through the student-centered funding formula. This determines whether you are basic aid or not. So there are no changes in the student-centered funding formula, also known as the funding floor. They're still in place. And based on our calculations in 26-27, if we are not basic aid, we are already by the formula, meaning we're not in the funding floor anymore. So that's good news. And that is because, as you know, the credit FTES as part of the formula is a 3-year average. So one of our lowest years of enrollment is dropping off from the calculation, thereby increasing our funding through the apportionment process or through the formula. The SAFF includes a 2.41% COLA. So all the apportionment districts, unless you are in funding floor, will receive this COLA as on top of what they received in 25-26. For community supported districts, there's no new money, just to put it in context, because we are not apportionment based anymore. We don't get funding from the state, and therefore, whether the state gives 5% or 1%, there's no revenue, additional revenue for us if it is not coming from 2 local sources, which are property taxes and student enrollment fees alone. $429 million in ongoing policy adjustments. That includes COLA and growth funding for the SAFF, and increasing support to Calbright College for an ongoing funding of $38.1 million, whether we agree or not, but the governor is committed to fully supporting and fully funding Calbright College as the 73rd community college district here in the state of California. All right. Here are some of the items that are proposed by the governor, ongoing funding, and we highlighted items that are in bold are the things that we will take that we would be benefiting from as a community supported districts. As you could see, consistent with what I mentioned earlier, SAFF COLA increase is not highlighted because we will not benefit from that. But adult education COLA, EOP&S COLA, DSP&S COLA, mandated block grant, CalWorks, we will get augmentation and funding on those based on the COLA that was given or proposed by the governor. And also on the right side, you have the Financial Aid Administration, Apprenticeship RSI, Cooperative Agencies, Resources for Education or CARE, EEO program, and the Child Care Tax Bailout. So all of this, we would be able to get some funding, despite of being a community-supported district. For one-time funding, these are the new things that the governor is proposing. So deferred maintenance. So this is something that the governor has not funded over the past 3 years. Well, past 4 years, technically speaking, because the last time the governor funded this, the year after they pulled back the money because the state was running into some financial challenges. And so deferred maintenance is proposed as another one-time for about $120.7 million statewide or for all 73 districts. So we will get our proportional share. Even though we're basic aid, we still get this funding from the state. Although it's not enough because based on the last estimate that the State Chancellor's Office has provided, that was in 2021, the maintenance deficit for community colleges statewide is about $20 billion. So this is just a drop in the bucket, but it helps, right? And then the governor is also proposing another one-time student support block grant, which is $100 million. We have received, we are in the process of getting our fair share for this year's $60 million student support block grant. So there's another round one time next year for almost double from 60 million this year to 100 million next year. Credit for prior learning and backfill apprenticeship funding shortfall is also provided in this budget. One thing to mention too, that I forgot is the Nursing Infrastructure Grant Program is again proposed by the governor to be funded coming from strong workforce. So this is not going to be the last year where they're going to get money from the strong workforce program, since the Nursing Infrastructure Grant will run through fiscal year 28-29. And so based on the plan, the current plan of the state of the administration and the state chancellor's office, this funding of 60 million every year will come from the strong workforce funds. So as I mentioned earlier, the strong workforce will not get COLA adjustment. In fact, it will also get some sort of a $60 million less next year because of the nursing infrastructure grant. So these are some of the district budget advocacy priorities, and some of you are already aware, especially as you went to Sacramento for our advocacy program. But these are some of those that are directly related to the restricted and or unrestricted general funds for us as a basic aid district. So definitely we are advocating for COLA, for Student Equity and Achievement Program, and for the strong workforce funding. Further support the student support block grant with a little bit adjustment or a little bit flexibility on the use of the program, since it's very rigid and restricted right now that it's so hard to use. Thereby, our two colleges will have a little bit of flexibility if that happens. Of course, deferred maintenance is also for us as an advocacy program, because it not only funds facility repairs, but also instructional equipment that is direly needed for improving or upgrading our classroom tools and equipment. Of course, continued funding for the part-time faculty office hours. And last but not the least, the inclusion of community colleges in AB 361, which is the best value procurement for public construction projects exceeding $1 million. This is already in place for K-12, so we just want to make sure that community colleges is also included in that bill or in that law to give us the best value in terms of providing or awarding contracts to contractors and not just accept the lowest bid. This would reduce change orders because you're not just choosing the lowest bid for any public contract above $1 million. And next steps in the budget process, so as you could see here on screen, so the governor and the state legislature will work together starting actually February all the way to May for the different hearings, especially the education committee, the subcommittee. And also in May, we're waiting for the governor's May revision. And then in June of 2026, the state will adopt its budget. And for us here at Foothill-De, the timeline would be March to April is our preliminary budget development, which coincidentally will also determine how we can project and what will be our projected or forecast for our property taxes. Since we are a basic aid district, our main focus now is not really on the COLA in terms of our budget revenue projection, but really on the property tax increase. And there are a couple of sources that we use for those property tax projections and revenue projections, which is mainly the county assessor's office and the reports that they provide both in November and in February that threw up the current year numbers to help the projection for the next fiscal year in terms of property taxes. In May, that would somehow finalize our assumptions, both on the expenditure side and the revenue side as well. And then in June, we will present to the board the tentative budget. And of course, in September, as required by the Education Code, the board has to adopt a final budget or an adopted budget for fiscal year 26-27. And I believe that last December, we presented to the board the budget planning and development calendar for fiscal year 26-27 for further details. Thank you. Any questions?
Yes, sir.
So, Chris, I'd like to go back to you don't have to roll it back, but the screen on the district budget advocacy priorities. And you support the categoricals that are not getting the COLA funding. You want to get that funding or some sort of funding there.
Absolutely.
And I'm looking at the obscenity, which is Calbright, because there is no justification given for why that one entity should receive $38 million. You know, this goes back to 2018, I believe it was, when it first, 2017. And it was Jerry Brown's kind of legacy project, and no one wanted to cross him. And they received, I think it was 21 million as startup funds initially. Their deliverables that they've gotten from that money do not compare at all to the ratio we expect of investment and returnables for any of the other districts in the state. And when we're looking at these longstanding programs, these categoricals that could use that money, and I'm thinking that's a better purpose for that money, maybe that's a good route for advocacy for the district, is to advocate for shifting that funding in that direction. Thanks.
Thank you for that comment. I would be very apolitical on this topic, so I would leave it to the board's discretion what they want to do.
Thank you. Thank you for including that. Trustee Casas?
Okay.
I can see you're on.
Yes.
Your hand is on your mic.
No, it's just that this budget introduced by the governor is sort of like kind of outrageous. There's a lot of AI money in there we don't really know if it's true money. So the Department of Finance and the Legislative Analyst's Office were sort of like incensed about this. But he is running for office, and so he needs and there were some numbers that were very positive. So, but you know, this whole Calbright thing, I don't think, well, I can say for sure that most of your community colleges are very much against continual funding of Calbright. It's a Board of Governors and Governor Brown, and supported by Newsom. So, but it's not anything it is not a popular idea. So you're correct on that. Anyways, those are just a couple of the comments that I had.
Thanks. Other comments or questions from leadership? So I have a few questions if other folks don't. Can you say more about how we forecast the property tax revenue? The district on which I was on the board in prior years had the county assessor come in and talk about how it's done, what we should expect, when we can ask for interim forecast, things like that. So I'm wondering, I know our new assessor's only been in office for a day or 3 days or whatever, a week, whatever, something like that. But I'm wondering if that's in our plans, how we do that kind of forecasting. So that's one thing I'm interested to know. Also on page 8 on our advocacy page, it was the page that had the advocacy list. I think you're missing from that page our advocacy around the 4-year degree programs, like particularly Foothill has one that's been hung up for a long time now. So I just don't want to lose sight of that. It's very important. So whenever we say the things we're advocating for, that's the thing we're advocating for sure. So anyway, with respect to the question around forecasting, can you talk a little bit more about that? Because so much of this money that was in this presentation you talked about doesn't really have anything to do with us. So.
Well, yes and no. To answer the point, yes. We still have to pay attention to the COLA because we take advantage of that on the categorical side. But also, since we are very new in being basic aid, we are just at the trenches of being basic aid. One thing that we are closely monitoring is if COLA is higher than the property tax increase, it might flip us back to being apportionment based because we're very new. We're like 1 year being basic aid. So we're really closely monitoring those. That is why it is important. So one metric that we always use is to make sure that this is higher compared to our property tax increase is higher compared to COLA, which for this year is it's already higher compared to the last report from the assessor's office. So moving forward, we're still doing the research in terms of what is the best methodology for this year, fiscal year 25-26. We were fortunate that we did a credit rating review with Standard & Poor's and Moody's for our bond sale middle of last year. And the part of the report that we received is the AV increase for fiscal year 25-26, which was the basis on why we developed a budget wherein the revenue projection is a 4% increase on property taxes, which is very close. Right now, the county provided us with a report a few months ago that right now our increase is 3.71%. So which is good. And so in the future, we're still looking at what is the best way to do the projection, considering that unlike San Mateo, for example, the county itself, there's only one community college in the county, whereas in our county, we have 4. And so we only have a small section, and we have multiple cities in our service area, unlike some school districts wherein they only have 1 city or 1.5 or 2 cities, right? Unlike us, we have at least 6 cities that we service. And so it's a little bit difficult to do the calculation, but we're working with our municipal advisor to see if there's a way for us to do some calculation or estimation in order for us to come up with the projection for property tax increases for the next year. One other thing that I would say is every November of each year, the county assessor's office release a projection for the next year's potential property tax increases. And based on some based on some calculation, because it's countywide, and so we have to figure out our service area, it can help dictate what are potential increases in Securo. I think one of the things that I'm working with the chancellor right now to see if there's a way for us to have some sort of a study session in the future to help inform the board on how we do this calculation as part of our process in order for us to have a more accurate way of doing projections. I did also inquire with some of our fellow basic aid districts. Our neighbor from the south, West Valley Mission, they use as their metric is the actual property taxes secured roll from current year as the basis for the revenue projection for next year. One other basic aid district, San Jose Evergreen, they have it in their board policy that for revenue and budget development, they will use a flat 3.5% increase of property taxes year over year on the condition that as the numbers come in like September and like November, they adjust the revenue when they present it to the board for the quarterly update, the revenues accordingly. So there are multiple steps, and these are the things that we will be working on as a district as we go along in order for us to have a more accurate way of projecting property taxes revenue, since it's about 73% of our budget revenue.
Thank you. Yes, Trustee Landsberger.
Are we interested in having a presentation by the new assessor? She just stepped down from the city council in Los Altos. I'm sure we could get her here if we're interested. So
I would be interested to hear. Yeah.
I mean, it's easy enough for me to reach out to her if we're interested in doing that. Okay.
Other questions or comments on this information item? Okay. Thanks very much for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 21 is also an information item. It's an enrollment update.
President Godfrey, members of the board, Chancellor Lambert, good evening again. So this time, this will be very short enrollment updates. So we provide this information to the board since we just submitted middle of January to the State Chancellor's Office our enrollment update called the 320 Report P1 or Period 1. And typically this is after the fall semester for the other 71 districts, except for the 2 districts who are in the quarter system, which is after the fall quarter. And I have, all right, so year over year comparison. So based on the report that we have submitted, so again, P1 is summer, actual fall, projected winter, and projected spring quarters for us. So just so you know, these are just the first 2 quarters of the year, which is basically half of the year for us. And we are just projecting our winter quarter and our spring quarter when this report was submitted to the state. That is why we will submit P2 in April, which is kind of almost done with the winter quarter. And then by July, wherein all of the quarters are done for the fiscal year. But for this P1 report, we are reporting a 1.27% increase in enrollment on resident FTEs, which is 288.19% or 288.19 FTEs higher compared to last year's actual enrollment. Unfortunately, though, for the non-resident side, we are projecting, again, this is just a projection, things can still change in winter and spring. We still have some interventions that we will do. But the way it is projected right now, we will be down by about 13% or 357 FTEs lower on the non-resident side. Just to give you put it in context, these are our historical enrollment numbers on our full-time equivalent students, the way we report it to the state. And this is for both resident and non-resident. For the resident side, so as you could see, we are recovering on our enrollment. And we are 10 FTEs shy of restoring prior to pre-pandemic levels. So which is good. We're a little bit late in the game. A lot of our sister colleges, especially in Southern California, have already restored enrollment to pre-pandemic levels about 2 years ago, but we're there. We're getting there. However, though, so if you look at the line graph, the orange one, the non-resident side, we have not recovered back. So we are still losing, and there's some gains through the years, and then it's going down again. From 3,600 FTEs in fiscal year 1920, and in 25-26, we are projecting 2,379. In terms of our resident full-time equivalent students breakdown, so this is an important metric because this is where our enrollment are going based on the type of student that we have. And this is non-credit, CDCP, special admit, incarcerated, and credit students. So our students in dual enrollment are in the special admit categories, as you could see there. Compared to last year, 24-25, our projection for 25-26, it is going to grow from 1,453 FTS to 1,700. So that's good news, and kudos to both Foothill College and De Anza College, who is really strengthening the bond between K-12, our fellow K-12 districts, and our respective colleges. CDCP is also at the same track, 461, 445 FTS, which is the enhanced non-credit. These are more of the certificate-bearing non-credit programs that we offer. And then just put it in context, the non-credit you see there from 126 in 24-25. In 25-26, it was projected at 4.36. So this will still change because non-credit is positive attendance, meaning we count their FTS once the student shows up on the class. But since we are just projecting winter and spring, we couldn't count them yet because the classes are not done yet. And so that will still change, and it will still potentially go up as we submit our P2 report in April and our annual report in July. Incarcerated is still 0 since we don't offer them. And then credit is about the same from 20,710 FTS to 20,682 FTES. And finally, my last slide in terms of enrollment, this is on the supplemental side or on the equity side of the student-centered funding formula. Our AB 540 students, our unduplicated headcount for AB 540 is 860 students as of fiscal year 24, the ending fiscal year 24-25. As you could see, this is about 1,030 students less compared to the pre-pandemic levels. And these are our mostly undocumented students. In terms of our Pell students, so as you could see, we have even restored and gained more compared to pre-pandemic levels. Prior to the pandemic in 1920, our Pell students count is 5,235 unique headcount, whereas in the end of fiscal year 24-25, we are at 5,724. So at this point, we want to maintain this trajectory of increasing more Pell students. And there are many reasons why we want to do that. One is because that is really committed towards our equity efforts, because more underserved students who are and low income, we are providing the education to them. And finally, the Promise students, or formerly known as the Board of Governors waiver students, or CCPG, or the California College Promise Grant Program. There are different names. As you could see in fiscal year, thank you, Jerry. In fiscal year 1920, it was at 12,156 headcount, unduplicated. But at the end of fiscal year 24-25, we are down to 11,358. So we're still doing some work, working with the colleges to determine what was the cause of this, because it doesn't make sense because Pell went up, but our Promise students went down. And so we need to find the answer and the correlation why there is a discrepancy between these two numbers. And that's the end of the report. Thank you.
Thank you. This is an information item. Any questions or comments? Yes, Eric.
Just a couple brief questions. Just to revisit that non-credit number dropping from approximately 127 to 4.4. Does that mean for fall, there was only 4.4 since fall is done?
I believe so.
Wouldn't we normally expect to see like somewhere around a third of it in fall? And if so, why is there such a decrease?
We're looking at it because that's what this came from the 320 report. So we're going to take a look at that as we go to the P2 report and adjust it accordingly.
Okay, thank you.
If need be. Yeah. Some of them might be converted to CDCP. That's the other reason, because CDCP and non-credit is one and the same, except that one is enhanced funding because it's more leading to a certificate program.
So that might be some of the reason we saw an increase in CDCP.
Correct. And a decrease in non-credit.
Thank you. Second question. So there was a notable and steady decrease in AB 540 students. Some of the reasoning behind that, is likely topical, but it seems to have been extending farther back throughout the entire pandemic. Do we anticipate that continuing to decline?
I hope not, but we're looking at it right now. But according to one of our researchers from Foothill, yes, the answer is yes.
At roughly the same rate. Like, do we have any projections on that at this time?
We don't have a projection. We're going to take a look at our numbers probably by P2 to see where we are in fiscal year 25-26 as we develop those dashboards.
And to layer one more question on top of that you probably don't have the answer to either. Is that something that we can work to address, or is that a trend we're seeing more broadly across the system?
That is something that we will take a look at to see what the trend is statewide in terms of, because I think the State Chancellor's Office dashboard will have all of these numbers for everybody. So we will take a look at it.
Thank you.
Just one quick follow-up question to that. Do we have a sense of when that information might be coming back to the board? Because I'm very curious about that as well.
The May board meeting, because we submit the P2 report April 2nd. April 14, I mean.
Other questions or comment on the enrollment report? Thank you. All right, let's move on to item number 22, which is actually an action item, where we're going to talk about non-resident student tuition.
Madam President, we have a short presentation as a way to provide some background to preface this item. So I'd like to have our Executive Director, Jennifer Brook, come up and do that presentation for us.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Chancellor Lambert. I'm pleased to be before you tonight to give an update on our international student program here at Foothill-De and what we're going to do to stabilize enrollment and just some updates in general to ensure the future success of our program. Okay, I think as you all would agree with me, Foothill-De international students are a vital part of our campuses, classrooms, and our broader communities that we all serve. They bring perspectives shaped by diverse cultures, experiences, and they really enrich learning and empathy and global understanding that we have here on our campuses. For students here that may not have the opportunity otherwise to study abroad, it brings a globe into the classroom, and it gives pathways to global citizenship. And for our international students that we serve, they foster lasting connections that go well beyond Foothill-De Anza. Together, these shared experiences represent the best of soft diplomacy, strengthening mutual respect, trust, understanding, and preparation for the workforce in an interconnected world. So it should be no surprise that our work that we do is very much connected to Chancellor's priorities that he has. And on a personal note, as a former international student who studied here in the US and other countries, this work is very close to my heart. So let's talk about where we are today. So our international students do make a meaningful impact and contribution on our state and local economies in ways that reflect shared values, not just financial impact. They support local businesses, housing, services, helping sustain jobs and strengthen community connections. So on the slide here, you see some figures. These are directly related to the economic impact that our international students have in our local congressional districts, 16 and 17, only behind Stanford here in Congressional District 16 and #1 in District 17. These numbers do not account for tuition and fees and any kind of payments that students make on campus. These are all external jobs and financial contributions. And this data comes from our National Association of International Counselors who did an extensive study, and there's actually a tool online where we can look this up. And then of course, on the right-hand side, the contributions of our students just last year to the district in terms of revenue that goes well beyond just our international student programs, but also touches other programs that assist students from all walks of life. Okay, so where are we today? I want to put this into perspective because we heard some information about our numbers and where are we in relation to other community college districts, both nationally and statewide, locally too. So we are well regarded as one of the leaders, this district here, in international education in the country, nationwide. And I think that speaks volumes of the work that we do across the district, on each campus, across departments, and in the international student programs. We're the #1 district in California for hosting international students. And De Anza as a campus is #2. So we have a very strong representation and leading edge of internationalization of college campuses. Okay, so I have some numbers here, and we were talking about revenue and enrollment. So on the left-hand side is the revenue generated by campus and by our top 10 countries combined between the two campuses. But on the right-hand side, you can see the rich diversity of the top 10 countries that we host here at Foothill-De Anza. It shows the global reach that we have and the many countries that are represented. It also reflects the strength of our programs, the trust that families place in us, and the longstanding relationships we've built internationally. Now, you might notice a couple other things here, particularly with China and Myanmar. We have a strong reliance on 2 particular countries. And as you may know, Myanmar is on the banned visa list. We've been working to support our students through some of those issues, but that also represents an opportunity to support our students and guide them to their educational goals, but also some risks and the need for further diversification. So we have a strong foundation to build on. As you can see, a lot of diversity in the countries represented. We have over 80 total countries represented across the district, but even in the top 10, it is quite diverse, especially in comparison to other community college districts and campuses. So what are we doing to address these things? I know that's important. And I just want to highlight that some of the initiatives that we're taking are in addition to all the work we're currently already doing and undertaking. But I want to highlight two important areas. And one is on the recruitment and partnership side. And then, of course, the student retention and overall experience side, because I strongly believe, and I know you agree, there's absolutely no point in bringing students here and not giving them the absolute best experience that we can here on our campuses, not only for the international students, but also our in-state resident students to really gain from those experiences that they can have. So I just want to call out a couple areas here. On the recruitment and partnership side, we are innovating in our recruitment practices. So we're developing new programs, particularly in the online space, to reach students that can't get here physically. So they're able to take Foothill-De Anza classes from their home country and still have that experience. We hope that they have such a great experience, they'll join us in person and be alongside our students here. But at least we can reach those students and plant the seed so they don't, we don't lose them completely off our campuses. A second one I want to highlight is the strategic partnerships. This is a huge one for us. So our department alone has over 30 partnerships and MOUs just through international student programs. In the past 5 to 6 months, since we had our realignment on September 1st, we've signed 6 additional agreements in that short amount of time. Chancellor Lambert actually signed an agreement last week with Wuhan Shipbuilding University of Technology in China. They kind of range widely. We have an agreement with the University of California, Davis's ESL program. So their students that don't qualify for admission directly to UC Davis, they're referring them to Foothill-De Anza, which is a small pipeline, but it's meaningful, it's steady, it's reliable. So those are just a couple examples. Another really great example just signed last week, the University of Kyoto in Japan, which is a similar agreement that they'll send their students for short-term programs with us. So 1, 2, 3 quarters perhaps, but even more, going even farther, we have the hopes in the next year to establish a J program, which will allow for us to have exchanges. So what it means for our students domestically is that they would be able to pay tuition and fees to Foothill-De Anza and have the ability to study abroad and have that opportunity. So that is one area that we're working on to internationalize the campus. An important thing to note though, we have hosted many delegations here in person, meeting with Chancellor Lambert and faculty and staff, but they're really expecting as we move forward with more of these partnerships that they see delegations from Foothill-De Anza, whether it may be staff, faculty. I know Coach Watkins from De Anza has gone abroad for us as well, and also the chancellor, vice chancellors to also create those connections. It's a cultural expectation, so I just wanted to convey that as well. And then on the student retention and overall experience side, this is really important as well, not just getting the students here, like I said. And so we're providing early orientation and support before the student even sets foot here. And the reason being, I think you all know, the US education system can be hard to navigate even for someone that's brought up here in the United States. And if you put yourself in the shoes of an international student, language barriers, completely different system, health insurance, that was the biggest thing I personally struggled with, the health system. So we're putting all that in place before they get here. So they've heard it once, heard it twice, and hopefully have a bit more familiarity with our nomenclature so they can be successful. They have that understanding before they get here. The other piece I wanted just to touch upon is clear and accurate communication. I think you're all aware that we have had some policies in the past 6 to 8 months that have been very disruptive in this space in particular. And it's extremely important to us and to the students, and I know to the district as well, that we have timely communication with our students and it's clear and accurate. So when a policy comes down, We can connect with them. We can reassure them, give them the exact instructions that they need to know. And so we don't have a panic. And unlike other community college districts where, unfortunately, with one of the past policies that came with the CVIS terminations last April, they had students depart the United States, which was not necessary because they were panicked and they didn't hear from the institution. And we want to avoid that. We want to support our students throughout their entire studies with us. So that's one major area that's already happening, but we're shoring up those pieces to ensure that students can continue to enroll, they're supported, and they have a great experience to speak about as they move on with their educational goals. So that's a quick update on where we are, where we've been, and what we're going to do moving forward. There's more, but I know we want to move on, but please, if there's any questions.
Thank you so much. Do we have questions for Jennifer? Trustee Chang.
Jen, thank you so much. This is really exciting work, and I can tell that you're always very excited to manage and to keep moving forward in this and touch many lives. I'm just interested, of the students that come to us, do many of them seek to transfer, and are they successful in doing so? What do you see?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So traditionally, we are a transfer-bound institution for our F1 students. And so a large majority, I would say 90% plus, do transfer. That's what they're coming here for, and they actually are successful. The ones that don't transfer we do have a small population, especially from European countries and some from Japan, like the example from University of Kyoto, where they're coming just for a short-term experience. They want to be here in Silicon Valley. They want to have the American college experience, and they're planning to go back home to their home country afterward to complete their studies there or to enter the workforce there.
Trustee Casas, did you have a question?
Yeah, I want to know, we're moving towards online for international students. What's the, what is the payment structure? Is it the same as physical presence? And two, how do you get your accreditation or your certificate or your AA degree? Right.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So in terms of the payment, it is non-resident tuition that they're paying. I think farther afield in the future, there could be specialized programs operating out of community education or something of that nature that might have a different fee structure, but from our programming, it is non-resident tuition that they would be paying. In terms of the accreditation and being ability to transfer, so we did a lot of research on this ahead of time, of course.
And they're online outside of the country?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
and I do want to be clear, we have students currently doing this, even without our guidance. That was happening prior to the pandemic. They were just kind of doing it with, and without support. And then on the high school side, you might be surprised to know, I pulled the numbers for De Anza College, and we haven't officially launched this program yet, but there's 59 high school students online from abroad that have no support. And so we're going to make this a program where we're
when
providing
you say no support, you mean support like counseling, or what do you mean by no?
It's available, but they're not seeking it because they don't know. They're just applying through CC Apply, registering somehow, figuring it out, which is great. Very good self-motivation there. But they're not seeking any support, and they don't have someone or an office guiding them to say, okay, here are some things you should be aware of: asynchronous, synchronous. What do you do if you can't get your course materials? What kind of courses should you be taking? Let's look at ESL and general education, not trying to get into courses that are not, maybe the best if you're in another time zone across the world. So that's what I mean by support. And we're going to provide that more structure to help support the students. Back to your question about accreditation and transfer. So we did a lot of research. Again, students have been doing this for years already on their own. And we verified with the University of California and the California State Universities that the credits that they take online from abroad are seen as though they're here in person. They're,
Oh, good.
if they're certified by Foothill-De and it's for credit and it's transferable, they are recognizing that. We had an example of a student in Madagascar. I was there on a recruitment trip. She came up to me and said, I'm a De Anza student. What do you mean? What are you doing here? Well, I'm studying online. I'm transferring to the University of the Pacific. And this was about a year ago I was there. So they are transferable and the students are able to complete their bachelor's if that's what they desire.
One final question. My final question is, I know we've had a drop in non-resident tuition. What is the drop and how much money are we losing in comparison to maybe a couple years ago?
So for our adopted budget for fiscal year 25-26, we projected a 13% decline. So last year, 24-25, our actual booked revenues for non-resident tuition fees about $26.5 million. And for this year, 25.
Wait, loss or?
No, that's the total revenue from last
revenue?
year.
Okay, and then
For
so that
this
was
year,
26.
That's 24-25. For 25-26, we are projecting about $23.5 million. It's about $3 million decline in terms of non-resident revenue. We will give you more update on that next month as I present the second quarter budget update.
But that's all non-residents, not just international.
Correct.
But
All non-resident.
Good point.
Trustee Landsberg.
You know, I'm very proud that Foothill-De is at the top of the list when it comes to California colleges, California community colleges enrolling international students. And I'm quite confident my colleagues agree, and you clearly do an outstanding job. My question is, do you have any hint yet that our prominence actually makes us a target or a potential target of the current attitudes in coming out of Washington?
we have not received any notice of that nature. There are channels, like we use CVIS as our channel, and we have close connections with the Department of Homeland Security. We actually have a liaison that we work with on various issues, and there's been no indication that we're any more a target than other institutions. However, because we do host quite a number of F1 students, I could see that we would be top of mind.
So you're at least on the lookout for
Yes.
that. Okay, good.
Yes.
And I did notice that you had clear and accurate communication on the experience side. I'm sure you're also called upon to counter the growing perception of the United States as not a particularly friendly place for international students to come to, or any visitor or immigrant to come to. How on the recruitment side are you dealing with responding to that challenge?
Right. That is a huge reality for us as on the recruitment side. The saving grace we have is we are in California.
Yes.
And we're in the Bay Area. And our campuses are extremely safe, and so is the local area. And we have data around that to support. We don't just say it, we know it's true, but we have data to support that, which goes a long way with parents. It's mostly parents, right, that have that concern. So that's one area. The other thing that we talk a lot about is the strength of our program. So, you know, that's another consideration. And other countries with community colleges. So really quick, Canada, I don't know if you've seen in the news, they've reduced their number of international study permits, they call it, by 90%. So some of the options in North America are off the table. So California is still attractive for students that can get here, but it is definitely a challenge. The other way we're combating it is with the partnerships, like I mentioned. So steady, reliable streams, because we have the partner vetting us. They know us. Many of them have been here and they've seen the campuses in the local area, so they can speak to that. So that's been very helpful in this time that we're dealing with right now.
Thank you. It's a very reassuring answer. I mean, a lot of this is totally out of your control, but you clearly are addressing it with some thoughtfulness and a strategy. So I very much appreciate that.
Thank you.
for
We're trying. And I will add just really quickly, the board resolutions, as a sanctuary campus, that also goes a long way, especially with counselors and parents. So the decisions we make here, people see it and they care. So that's really helpful too.
So let me just add on to, as another example of this, Trustee Landsberger. So we recently are exploring partnerships with different colleges as well as with different recruitment firms. One of them recently who came here and visited with us said that if a parent went to the US to get their education, or if they had an advanced degree, they favor the United States of America for their education. So this was a firm out of China. So I think we still are carrying a lot of gravitas. And so I think it's going to require us to work a little harder to maintain that and build out these relationships. But also remember, we're also in a competitive landscape with other states. And like the example of the high school program, I know my former state of Washington, very aggressive into that space. And so now that we're seeing, without doing much effort, we're getting students from that. But what if we put a little more intentionality around that? We could probably increase those numbers as well. We need to make sure our faculty support that as we go forward. But I think there's a lot of opportunities, but we're just going to have to work more strategically as Jen is pointing out.
Other questions?
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much for all of that.
Thank you.
So Board President Goffrey, so up tonight for your approval is an increase in non-resident tuition fee that we are required by state law under the Education Code of California that the board approves. So our proposal is consistent with the plan that we presented last year, wherein we're going to gradually increase our non-resident tuition fee just by 4%. And we have seven different options that we can choose from in terms of what amount we want to increase it to, but we're choosing the lowest one. And the reasoning is we want it to be gradual, moderate, and predictable. And so as we proposed last year, it's $4 every year, all the way up to 28-29, fiscal year 28-29, with $4 per credit every year. So this will make us kinda the cheapest in our neighboring area by 50 cents per credit unit, if adjusted to a semester-based per credit unit, because we're in a quarter unit. Yeah, because my peers from the other districts are telling me, how can you come up with $253 per unit? Well, because we can do it. I said, well, they always forget that we're in a quarter system, and so it's not apples to apples in terms of what they charge versus what we charge per unit. But we're the cheapest by 50 cents. For your approval.
So noted. Any questions particularly about this fee increase or any motion to approve this?
Make a motion to approve tuition increase.
Any second for this?
I will second.
Alrighty. Ms. Olson, moved by Casas, seconded by Gavatawa. Student trustee, what's your vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Board, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion passes. Thank you. Okay. Vice Chancellor De La Rosa, you're off the hook for the moment, or are you on the hook for the next one as well?
I'll just give a brief update on this item. for the emergency repair resolution for the McKellen Terrace. So just wanted to give the board an update that we made significant progress through the month by getting the permit from the city of Cupertino approved to repair the roof with no issues at all. In fact, we had very good cordial relationship with the staff of the city of Cupertino to move this forward. In fact, our executive director of facilities has established that good relationship with the staff to ensure that when we bring the renovation design for the student housing project come later middle of this year, we will not have any issues with the city for approval. So that's the only update we have for this item. So repair is now in progress.
Thank you. Any questions up here?
Quick question. Does that mean you'll move some of the residents that had to relocate, you'll move them back after the repairs are done? Or this is actually the renovation for our students? This is not
The building
renovation.
is currently unoccupied because we moved out the current legacy tenants out.
Right.
Based on our timeline, the repair will be completed on or before June 30, which is the last day. And so 2 of the tenants that we moved out already moved back to the apartments, but to a different unit that is not in the same building.
Any questions from our leadership out here? Okay, thank you very much. Let's move to item number 24, Measure G update. This is information only.
So, Madam President, as I have Joel Cadiz come up, I just want to provide some background. So many of the projects that are in here that are sustainability related, they will be part of our study session presentation next month. So just so that we can call greater attention to that. I also know that there's been questions about the Art Center and the progress and all that. We will come to you with a full presentation in April around that facility. And then as customary, Joel has just been highlighting one particular thing, even though this is along the sustainability piece, we get a lot of questions about the charging stations. So I thought he'd pay particular attention to the EV charging stations tonight.
All right, good evening. So let me just give some very quick updates on some projects, and then the EV charging stations are already up there, and I'll just highlight which locations on both campuses are receiving additional chargers. So starting off with the upgraded infrastructure and HVAC systems, this is mainly for the pool project. So the air source heat pumps have been designed and have been submitted to DSA already. Campus-wide building management system, we started off with building D120 because we were upgrading the HVAC in that building. So we will continue now with Smithwick and the plant building here at Foothill, and the Creative Arts building at De Anza, as well as the PE renovation over at De Anza. The Sunnyvale Ed Center, we are focusing our work on the spaces that are serving the EMS, EMT, paramedic, respiratory tech, and radiologic tech programs. The pool, this is the renovation, the pool at Foothill. We have submitted that to DSA. We did receive comments, and our design team are addressing those comments right now. Creative Arts, as Chancellor Lambert said, we will do a big presentation in April. Then housing let me give you some statistics. So for Scholars Row, we have 1 apartment that is currently occupied and 12 applications have been approved, and these folks will be moving in March. And the rest, there are 40 applications that are still being reviewed by the management office. The Acacia at Palo Alto, we have 2 apartments occupied by staff. We have 1 more that is approved, so 1 more is going to move in, and then we have the remaining still pending. And then the EV chargers, that's up on the screen. So we have 4 ports at the campus center at Foothill, 17 ports at Lot 5 at Foothill, 8 ports at PSEC parking, 4 ports at the courtyard here at Foothill, and 4 ports at the courtyard at De Anza, and 12 ports at Lot 5 at De Anza. And that is my update for Measure G. Any questions, I'm happy to entertain.
Any questions? Trustee Casas?
Thank you. I just want to know, why is it taking so long to move people into these apartments in Palo Alto and in Mountain View?
The Palo Alto ones, we have had, well, not we, there was some management issues. In fact, our partner districts, Mountain View, Wishman, Los Altos Elementary, we have been in contact with each other discussing what the issues are. So right now, I believe the management has changed staffing, and so they are improving. And then for the sevens, they are also entertaining the Mountain View and also Mountain View Wishman, and as well as for the application. So there's a lot of verification that needs to be done, and sometimes when you call people, they don't call you back when you're asking for verification. So it's a long process, but it is happening.
So Trustee Casas, if I may add, so we are continuously working on advertising this and making sure all of our employees are aware. Two things anecdotally that I heard was for the Acacia project, which is in Palo Alto, the AMI is lower. It's a 120% of every area median income, unlike our Scholars Row, which is 150%, and the rent rates are a lot higher compared to Scholars Row. So those are the two major things that are preventing our employees to consider that. Despite the fact that we have resolved the property management issues that all of our partner districts have been encountering for the longest time.
Thank you for that.
I was just going to say, from ACE employees, I think at the Acacia, we had two different blocks of units. We had the 80% AMI and the 120%. And the ones at 80% filled very quickly. But it's those units that are more expensive at 120% AMI that are somewhat less attractive when you compare them to rates in San Jose or other neighboring communities. People are willing to look at units of a larger size that aren't tied to their employment. And I think with the Mountain View district, I'm hearing some feedback that the 5-year limitation is making some folks kind of hesitant to move in. So we may revisit that MOU at some point.
Thank you. Yeah, that's good.
Other questions on Measure G update? Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, we are moving on to item number 25, which is an action item. Vice Chancellor Rose, I believe you're on.
Yes, thank you. This is a resolution requesting authorization to eliminate these two specific classified services. I've been in contact with Scott, and I appreciate his help in trying to get this accomplished without having to come forward with an official layoff notice resolution. So just to be clear, this action will authorize us to send a notification to the incumbents in these positions, a 60-day notice that their positions will be eliminated. In the interim, I will continue to work with Scott and the individuals and their supervisors to find other positions for them in the district.
Any questions or comments? Questions or comments? Anybody ready to make a motion to approve this?
I'll move the item.
Thank you. Trustee Landsberger, move the item. Any second?
I will second.
Seconded by Trustee Kuatua. Student trustee, what's your vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Board of Trustees, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? All right, item passes. Thank you. All right, we are at leadership reports. How could that possibly be? Now let's see, here we are. Dr. Woodbury, you weren't here last time. So you have to go first.
That sounds very fair. I did miss you all last time, but I thought you wouldn't miss my cold staying home. So I hope you all treated Shotgun well. I'm sure you did. She said it was fine. So I'm back in the seat now, and it's been several weeks at De Anza. We are looking at a few different items that I thought were worth mentioning. One we've had a working group looking on sort of revamping how we schedule our classes. What I'm calling the blocked scheduling system. It's not block schedules. It's slightly different than that. That's still very much in progress. We saw a rough draft, very rough draft, so first edition style of kind of some things they were thinking about at our Senate meeting last week. They got some, I think, some really good feedback, and we're going to do some outreach to some of the impacted departments and programs and continue to iterate on that. And hopefully we'll see some more progress on that over the course of this quarter, and I'll be able to report back maybe some more what that looks like later on in the year. Of course, today we actually had a really at times intense discussion about ICE and its impact on our community and the fears, as well as what we can do to be better prepared about it. I've been talking to our chancellor and our vice chancellor of HR about what that training looks like for our faculty and other employees. I'm looking forward to getting some more details about that and what we can do to give people some information so they feel a little bit more prepared. There's definitely a sense of, yes, I know how the rules are supposed to be. And there's some lovely signage up that tells us what we're supposed to do, but what happens when they show up and ignore that? And I think people just want to have a few more words of certainty from our leadership, from our organizations that tells them what to do when I'm going to call it the expected unexpected happens. And so that's what I'm going to continue to advocate for on behalf of the faculty, to make sure that they get those resources, that they hear very clearly from the district what to do in the event that ICE shows up and what their role is and what their role isn't, both to keep our students safe and to keep us safe. That was a really good conversation. I want to thank President Torres for being at our Academic Senate meeting today and actually fielding a lot of those questions and answers, as his update sort of morphed into a larger discussion about ICE, which I don't know if he planned on, but I really appreciated him rolling with the punches and helping us out there. And of course, as I mentioned, we were able to examine the resolution that you all approved today, and I want to thank you for approving that and adopting it. Now, the last thing I'll mention in terms of De Anza business is we're also bringing out our updates to our local GE philosophy, GE criteria, as well as examining some of our processes around that and making some recommendations on how to improve them, and that has been an interesting conversation over the last couple of meetings. That's probably going to extend a couple more because it's a pretty big lift and there's a lot to talk about. But it is a pretty significant shift as we move to align with AB 928 to make sure that our local GE criteria sort of align more closely with what's put out in CalGETC. And as we shift from sort of an overarching 6 criteria, this is what it means to be a De Anza GE class, to very individual area criteria. These are the 3, 4, 5 criteria that to be a communications course, to be a quantitative studies course, to be a natural sciences course. So that's a big shift for us. And there's ongoing conversations, and we'll see how that fully develops. And I'll again be able to report back more on that at a future meeting. Personally, slightly more personally, in my work representing faculty more generally at the state, I've been going to Sacramento a lot lately. Every other week, every time we have a Somos Unos meeting, I'm in Sacramento. So I've been up there for an ASCCC meeting in January, and then a 5C, our state curriculum committee meeting last week, and the end of this week, I'm up there again for another ASCCC executive committee meeting. And I just wanted to take a moment to express my appreciation for the support of this district and my college in particular for giving me the ability to go up there and do this work. I'm learning a lot. I'm meeting a lot of really interesting people, and I am absolutely, every time I'm there, trying to represent the information and the interests of our college and our district. So if any of you ever have any questions about what's going on in the ASCCC, I can't necessarily answer them right away. There's a chain of command, and I can't speak for the organization, but I can absolutely make sure that those questions get passed along and make sure that you all get answers to them. So please do feel free to reach out. We have our spring plenary coming up in the first week of April. The De Anza Academic Senate is sponsoring a few scholarships for our faculty at De Anza if they wish to attend. And I think I found one person today that wants to go, so I'm hoping to find another 1 or 2. I'll close my report by wishing everyone a happy early Lunar New Year, which I think comes up in just a week or two. It's 14th, 15th, somewhere in there. Thank you, 17th. I knew it was in the teens somewhere. I should have written it down on my list, but wishing you all a very happy early Lunar New Year. Thank you.
All right, good evening. I only have a few items to report this evening. At our last Academic Senate meeting, we discussed about reconstituting the Academic Integrity Committee. It's been absent for about
the past 10, 15 years. And so we've had discussions about reconstituting that. And so we are reviewing our charge and its membership at the moment. Other items that we're talking about is alignment throughout our different plans across our campus. And one of the things that I'm working across the aisle with Vanessa, our classified academic senate president, is one of our objectives for our educational master plan, which is objective 4.2, fostering a college culture of growth and engagement, providing employees with opportunities to thrive. And we're hoping to make alignment as well with the district strategic plan. So thank you, Vice Chancellor, for coming to Academic Senate to discuss that. And in the spirit of continuing cycle of improvement, we are working on revising our program review process and our templates on our campus. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. A couple of quick things. First, thank you, Chancellor Lambert, for the recognition of the work that's been done on the APs and BPs. I want to give a particular shout out again to Vice Chancellor Momjian, who is an exceptional partner in this work and who has been covering my slack in a couple of ways for the last couple of weeks, but I am deeply appreciative of that, and we are continuing to move forward with those. We have set a joint Senate meeting date for March to discuss the updated master plan for the district. It will be the first joint Senate meeting that we've held this year, and we are still working out exactly what the nuance of having it online and in person and having me gavelled in. I don't know what we're going to do, but we'll figure it all out and it'll still be compliant with Brown somehow or other. No promises 100% on that, but we'll get as close as we can. The Academic and Professional Matters Committee is meeting again next week for our second meeting this term. Again, lots of agenda items around alignment, while retaining the distinct cultures and personalities of the colleges. I will say that I was able to meet with the district Senate president from Los Angeles Community College District in January. She and I had an extended coffee, and anytime I think that I am struggling as the district Senate president over 2 campuses, I am reminded that she is the district Senate president over 9. And I nod and say, oh my God, Angela, how are you not drinking more coffee? But it was a really interesting meeting to talk about how she balances all of that, especially given her home campus, and making sure that she doesn't either over favor or under favor her own campus, which I know could be a tendency that would be possible. And finally, I'm sure that the board is aware that we had a mini partnership resource team come in the fall to talk about resource allocation under our new model. And I'm grateful to my college president for allowing me to serve on a partnership resource team. I will be driving to Taft College tomorrow. President Villanueva gets to go to Napa Valley College on Thursday. And I have to say that initially I would be really, really angry that he gets to go to Napa and I get to go to Bakersfield. But it will be the 111th college I have visited in our system. I have 5 left to go after Wednesday, and I have been told that I will be serving on PRTs whenever they are available to those remaining 5 colleges so that I can hit all 116 before I retire. That is the plan. And obviously with that, I am announcing that I'm not taking the SERP because I don't think I'd be able to hit all 5 in the next 2 days. So thank you all very much.
So primarily I have been planning for the Super Bowl, kind of, sort of. I've been meeting with the chancellor and also with the vice chancellor of human resources regarding more the activist side of faculty involved with the ICE activity, and been getting quite a few emails and texts and so forth from faculty who, want the union to get involved in that. And, that's something that we approach very cautiously. Because, we can't just say on a dime. Was that me? Was that, I can't just on a dime say, okay, the union is going to organize and drive an activity. And mostly I've been trying to caution faculty who are involved not to cite political activity as a reason for not attending their normal duties, because that could run them into trouble. But we are exploring as a union what we can do beyond simply alerting faculty to the activities that are available and where they might go. We have our annual retreat coming up this week, and so we'll be talking about that with our legal counsel and sharing some information with our colleagues in the other unions. My wife and daughter and I went to Santa Clara on Friday, Santa Clara University. And it ended up being quite a sizable crowd, about 1,000 people, maybe a little less. As that was kind of my daughter's introduction to political action. So it was a good scene there, nice and safe, and people were enthusiastic. And we're just keeping an eye on what happens in the next week or so. But I think if there is ICE presence at the Super Bowl, that we can expect a much larger presence of faculty and other employees at events around the Bay Area, and particularly in Santa Clara.
Who wants to go first on this side of the house? Garrett? Looks like you're getting to the microphone.
Yes. I just want to say thank you for adopting that. I know a lot of people have come with concerns. I was actually up at an outdoor education center facility. It's called SMO, San Mateo Outdoor Education. And I got to listen to quite a few concerns up there, and they are pretty out of the way, but I still come across a lot of it. So it shows a lot of respect from the board. That's all for me tonight.
Hi, from the Teamster space. I do echo some of what Garrett shared. I would say that from my membership is the ongoing hope I think the student trustee had raised in terms of continuing to put some meat or robustness behind the resolution, and that we continue to message to our staff in terms of the process and the policy and procedures should ICE come on our campuses, so that folks feel prepared, because it's always going to be a shock should it happen, even if we continue to be mindful and alert. I would just say on top of that, just a couple updates. Teamsters are continuing to negotiate with HR regarding the classification study. We are finalizing part 1 or phase 1 of just updating and then adopting the proposed job classifications. We, as of our last negotiations meeting, which occurred last week, we have 11 job classifications that are still being decided upon, which impact 9 live human beings. And so we are trying to be thoughtful about this process and to wrap it up, this phase sooner than later. The next phase that we will then enter in is the compensation stage, in which we need to agree and negotiate on some criteria with support from Gallagher, the consultant who is supporting this process, as we then take these updated job classifications into the field in terms of comparable agencies, in terms of how that work is being compensated outside of our district. Would like to also just acknowledge that the composition of the Teamsters negotiation team is shifting. Tonette Torres, who works in central services, has stepped down last fall after sort of years of service. And we were able to welcome Vidya Subide from De Anza, who works over in counseling. And so she is serving on the team in addition to myself and Josh Peltier, who is at Foothill, and Pauline Brown, also at Foothill. Thank you.
Hello. Yeah, I also want to thank the district for limiting ICE activity on district property. I've heard from a number of members with concerns about what's happening nationally, and I think to limit that exposure for our own community and for neighboring communities is brave and worthy. The district, or I'm sorry, the ACE website links to the County of Santa Clara Division of Equity and Social Justice. You'll also find the red card and links to the Rapid Response Network. We look forward again to notices. I know the De Anza campus is passing out notices. I need to get some to put in my own office there. So tomorrow I will find Natalie and do that. And just that clear and consistent training. I think when employees know what to do, it makes them feel comfortable in how to respond. Secondly, I want to thank Tony Brown and HR, the HR and benefits staff for responding to a recent urgent member need. It really means a lot when we can contact somebody and then resolve an issue quickly. That person otherwise would have experienced just a completely different life trajectory, I think, as a result. So it was a deeply impactful moment, and I sincerely appreciate that, as does my member. So my third item, we provided legal analysis, which requires California employers to respect an employee's preferred name instead of their legal name. And I think that's been submitted on behalf of our attorney. So we'll follow up that in discussions. I have a meeting with Diana on February 4th. So if there are any questions that you'd like to route through Diana and get answers, we'll be connecting them. Such as the temporary employee requirements in 88003 for a substitute or short-term employee. There are some requirements of a governing board. You are the governing board. I don't know that we have any deferrals of your duties or responsibilities. So right now it's important for you to understand them, and I will trust that you will. It lends itself into that previous item where we are doing a reduction in classified staff. There can be staff that are doing positions which are adjacent to the work that are done by those that are being laid off. Just today, I had spoken to an employee who has been a temporary employee for 20 years at the Foothill campus. And so that has been highlighted, and I have shared a number of highlights, and we'll go over that. So there's some items to clean up. In addition, related to housing, we're seeking to alter the MOU from 80% to 75%. That's something that HR is aware of. We have members who work 410 schedules, and thus they're not here 4 out of 5 days. They're here 3 out of 4 days. And so 75% would be an appropriate amount. And I trust that'll be easy enough to resolve. And so then my one oddball item that everyone's going to enjoy at the very end. So Friday, I made... I don't know. I think I wrote to Ellen, I wrote to Gohar, and then I actually wrote to Albertsons corporate, and I called 2 Safeways, one Andronico's, and I was trying to solicit about a 5% discount for staff and students for groceries. And I got a response today that students are eligible for that discount at both campuses. So if you go into the Safeway app, you go to your profile, you'll find a discounts section. So I sent you an email, Maria, and then I spoke to the ASFC president and some other folks at the food pantries. But yeah, sometimes all it takes is to ask. And so Santa Clara University in my locality, they had that advertised for both students and staff. So I was hoping to get it done for students and staff. So I'm still working on the staff part, and I'll share about that later to help meet those basic needs in a high cost of living area. Thank you to Ellen Kamei. She was responsive and then included Gohar in the conversation. So 5% off at Safeway. There you go. Well, it is happening. Oh yeah, there you go, Ellen. For staff.
But it's done for students.
It's done for students, yeah. All you got to do is I can work on we can all work on Whole Foods next. We'll see if Jeff Bezos is generous.
I would say Eric already said everything about De Anza College. Thank you to the board. I'm a classified Senate president. Now we are working on the professional development day with Vanessa, classified Senate at Foothill College. We're gonna have professional development day on March 20 here at De Anza College. So thank you for the, how to say, because we are coming from De Anza to Foothill. Every year we celebrate, it's a joint Foothill and De Anza. We are doing professional development together. So what else? So far, only this report. Next month, I'll bring more information. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's bounce it up
Well,
to you, Chancellor.
Yes, good evening, everybody. I want to first start out by thanking Ellen and Simon and Elizabeth for putting together our talking points for our past visit to Sacramento last month. So shout out to you and Simon and Elizabeth for that. And they're also working on our talking points for our visit to Washington, DC, as we go into this weekend and through the first part of next week. Of course, this last visit to Sacramento, we got to meet with Senator Wahab's office, Senator Becker's office, and we got a nice surprise visit from Senator Becker at the end of the meeting, which was great. And then we met with Member Aarons and Berman. We were joined by West Valley Mission and San Mateo when we met with Assembly Member Berman during that time. Also, during the effective trustees portion of the Sacramento visit, I want to thank Lori Scolari, Leslie Belmonte, and special thanks to Chris Custer and Carla Maitland for helping pull together our presentation. So Lori and Leslie and myself did an AI presentation to the trustees there. And we use the Iguazu Falls metaphor as a way to illustrate this new reality that we're all working through together. Trustee Costas was there, and she might be willing to provide her perspective on our presentation. She doesn't mind. Also, I had the pleasure of going to the Carrying the Dream Forward event at San Jose State in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King, and some just tremendous young talent in our African-American community. We had a young man, maybe 13 or 14, talking about his future plans around the sciences. And I think he came up with a new classification, a neurocardiologist. So he wants to be a brain and heart surgeon. So it was just an outstanding event there. And then I will just close out by saying that we're doing what we can to support the safety of all of our students, our employees, our community members. And as we roll through this month and beyond, you're going to see increased training that's going to be coming. I know Diana Rose is working to make that happen so everybody knows how to handle responses. We've already done the training for administrators so they know how they should approach things. And then now we want to get to the folks on the front line. And then we're going to have some enhanced parking monitoring as we go forward through, at least through the Super Bowl period. And then we'll examine what else we will do. And we're certainly open to other suggestions as we go forward. So with that, and in the spirit of President Woodbury, happy upcoming Lunar New Year.
Thank you, everyone. And I will mention that I have great gratitude for the passing of the resolution tonight. Foothill needed to do some clarification. We refreshed all of our ICE protocols, and I've been visiting division meetings to talk about them and to talk through some of the protocols that exist at the president's office. I fielded many questions, and but I also start with saying I want the campus to feel confident that when they see on a protocol that all activity is directed at the president's office, that I stand ready, and that I've been trained. And I think that's gone a long way. I visited the Library and Learning Resource Center, the STEM division, Health Sciences, the Classified Senate, A&R, Counseling, the Fine Arts, Behavioral and Social Sciences, Language Arts, and I still have gas in the tank. So if anyone wants to have my roadshow, I certainly want to thank Teresa Ong, who's in the audience today, who has set up protocols over at Sunnyvale and has done a good job reassuring people at Sunnyvale and their proximity to the festivities of the Super Bowl, that while nothing about a visit from ICE will be neat and orderly. When you have a game plan, you can execute the contingencies much better. So I wanted to mention that. And then I want to move to a much nicer topic, which is to fill all of our cups by recognizing some people who are receiving awards and achievements. I want to start by recognizing Lori Scolari. She is going to be honored at the Association of California Community College Administrators this month in Long Beach for the Excellence in Leadership Award. And I think you will all agree that she is well deserving. So a crew will be down there cheering her on, as well as her brother. And Lori, if you're listening, there's lots of head nodding in this room. Thank you so much for the leadership that you bring to Foothill College every day. And then also on my board report, which I have sent you the link to, please take some time to look at the 2026 League of Innovation Excellence Award winners from Foothill College. We have done enormous work creating a culture of growth at Foothill College. And we are recognizing the outgoing Dean of Online Learning, Lene Whitley-Putz, for all of the innovation that she has seeded at culture responsive pedagogy, poker, and a whole slew of reflective and inclusive teaching practices, as well as supporting the digital transformation. Allison Mizon is also being recognized for the work that she's done as a faculty supporting faculty and making huge strides in moving some clear work that we needed done forward alongside the leadership at the Academic Senate. And then there are two superstars in the Emerging Technology Institute are being recognized. Constantine, I try never to butcher his last name. I'll try it here today. Kalazidis, we call him KK for short, and you can find. And then Dean Zach Semblin, who has done enormous work with the Emerging Technology Institute, also an AI community of practice, and he is the lead for our AI Fellows program. Check out pictures from the convocation that we had from the Poet Laureate. But I'll end by saying that we did have a nice, successful party to kick off our Blueprint for Success. We started with a welcome from Voltaire and Vanessa and Kayla. And we took it from there to showcase the organizational work that we've done to support the Blueprint for Success. I want to thank the marketing team for putting together a wonderful bound edition of our full Blueprint for Success, which you now have at your seats. Thank you very much.
Well, good evening, everyone. I wanted to start with the annual report 2025. You have a copy of it. Hope you enjoy it. We started this last year and decided to follow in the tradition and bring a copy to the board and to folks that are up here. So hope that you enjoy it. I want to congratulate our AVP of Communications and External Relations, Elizabeth Smith. She has hit the ground running here at De Anza. And I'm proud to announce, and you'll see on my board report, which I've also sent out to you, that she has been inducted into the Cupertino Chamber of Commerce board. So she's on there. I mean, she literally just a few weeks in, and she's now serving and has been installed in this very important position for the college. So very proud of her, and I thank her. In fact, I also want to thank her for the annual report, her and Gwen Jordanay, and just the incredible team at Communications Office has really worked hard to put all of these materials together. So hope you'll join me in thanking them. Our wonderful Winter Club Day occurred on January 22nd in the Sunken Garden. We had over 80 clubs. It was sponsored by our Inter-Club Council, that they had an opportunity to really promote all of the good work that they're doing and try to get students recruited into these wonderful possibilities for them. So we're very proud of them, and the board report includes some pictures for you to look at as well. Our Auto Tech, they have done a major tool room renovation. I walked by there and I got some great pictures, and I would encourage the board, when you have time and are inclined, to visit De Anza and go check out the automotive technology program and see what Dave and team have done with the tool room. It's remarkable. So, go check it out, please. We worked with our creative arts faculty. I think Eric might have alluded to this. Our creative arts faculty have worked really hard, as well as our staff members, in meeting through the design build process with both our construction managers and architects to really bring together the workings of the next iteration of the creative arts building. So we had a meeting with academic senate leadership as well last Wednesday, and then on Friday, I was able to pop into the Zoom room and see how they were working with the architects and with the construction team and with Roseanne from facilities and others to really bring life into and their expertise into guiding the work that's going to be done in this next generation building that will serve the creative arts for decades. So we're very excited about that work. And I want to thank the faculty and the staff and the dean, Chris Kinskager, just doing a remarkable job in bringing everybody together and working with the facilities team. And again, Roseanne, Joel, you guys have been amazing. So I want to thank you as well. Also, our career training team has done some extensive outreach. So you can read about that in the board report. And with that, I will end by just saying that we have premiered with a new President's Advisory Council on Business, where we're bringing various business leaders from both Cupertino and Sunnyvale together. We had our first meeting this past Friday. You'll see some pictures in the board report. We're starting to solicit feedback on what it is that they need through customized workforce training, through either contract education or possibly through non-credit. It's perfect timing given that we are going to have our second IEPI PERT team visit on February 27th to bring the faculty together with our visiting PERT team members to really talk about what are some options for the college. And it doesn't mean we have to do this, but it's just presenting opportunities to our faculty to consider, as well as our workforce and CTE programs as we think about the future of the workforce and meeting their needs. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I wanted to start off with very strong sense of gratitude that this resolution passed today, and also appreciation to everyone here that clearly is in support of our students. Something that was brought up in this conversation was around staff comfortability if anything were to happen. And I just wanted to offer a quick resource. Outside of student government, I also work part-time at Siren Immigrant Rights, and we offer Know Your Rights trainings, virtual, in person, bilingual, and it is 1 hour long. So if any staff are interested in getting those trainings to get a better sense of comfortability, please reach out to me. I can help connect that. And also an example I want to provide for that is because if we bring up the example of warrants, people don't know what a valid ICE warrant looks like. A valid ICE warrant has a judicial signature, and most ICE warrants don't have that. So when we're talking about the level of comfortability, it's important that people get that training and have that confidence. So I just wanted to provide that resource real quick. Moving on to some updates with student government. February is Black History Month. And in addition to that, I'm happy to be able to represent today for the upcoming Lunar New Year celebrations in my Vietnamese traditional dress. Very proud to be representing. And Foothill students are also planning to attend a March and March Advocacy Day at the state capitol on March 12th. I'll share more logistics on that later as we're still in the planning process. And our student government is also working on an initiative to expand library times. And I think the survey for this has reached around 150 responses, but we're trying to reach at least 200. So stay tuned on that. And then on my end, for the past few weeks, I've been working to better understand the student housing shuttle services. And thank you, Joel, so much for helping me through this process. So a few weeks ago, I actually went on the student housing shuttle, and it was such an incredible experience. And it is clearly very underutilized right now. And I can't wait to help expand that service. And then I also got a chance to go on it a second time a couple days ago, as every Friday, the shuttle makes a stop to a grocery store or to a clothing outlet. And the reason they do this is to provide transportation to students who need to get their groceries for the week or who need to get clothing. And one moment I want to highlight in particular is we were shopping with an international student, and it was his first time going grocery shopping. And what started off as a grocery cart full of like chocolate and chips and ramen noodles, eventually, with our guidance a little bit, became a more balanced cart with salmon, pasta, some green onions. So it was I think I wanted to highlight that because it was a beautiful moment, because in that moment, it showed to me something that started as a means to close the equity gap with transportation turned into something that genuinely built community. So I think that's so beautiful. And I think that's representative of what we try to achieve here at Foothill-De in general. And I'm very proud to be a part of that process. Thank you.
Nothing to report tonight.
I just want to say, Student Trustee Blaze, you look beautiful in your Idao. So thank you for wearing it proudly, and happy Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year. I think everybody knows if you're turning 12, 24, 48, 60, 72, some version of a multiple of 12, this is your year, the year of the horse. So happy year of the horse.
Oh, yes. Dennis Chima, do you want to do the foundation report for us? We'd like to see you at the microphone occasionally.
Well, thank you, Madam President, members of the board. Dennis Chima, I'm the Executive Director of the Foothill-De Foundation. And again, welcome to Trustee Fatwa, who is going to be serving on the foundation board this year. Thank you for joining the board, and to Trustee Casas for returning to serve the board. It's great to have you both. The board received a couple of updates over the course of its meeting, one from the Science Learning Institute at Foothill College, primarily about the internships provided out into industry and research institutions for Foothill College students, and another presentation from the Los Altos Rotary. The Rotary kindly shared the work they've been doing over the last decade plus at the Foothill Veterans Resource Center, and invited members of the board as well as trustees in the community to the Pasta for Vets event on March 27th. So I would encourage you, if you can join that organization by purchasing a ticket. And if you can't come, buy a ticket anyway, because it sponsors, it helps the VRC up the hill at Foothill. Also, we welcomed a new board member. Thanks to Trustee Casas. Katie Zoglin joined our board. She was a longtime community member involved in San Jose and county government, as well as other areas in private sector law. Great lineage as well. Her mother was a trustee at Foothill-De in the 70s. So it was great to bring her on the board. The board returned to its discussions from November about a possible workforce-related campaign. We are going to commission a steering committee in the foundation to work on the next iteration of that campaign and formally launch it in the months ahead. That's a fundraising campaign to support workforce initiatives programs in STEM and allied health and other areas of innovation. So good news there. We are working to get a member of the CBOC, the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. There's a nominee that comes from the foundation board under the bylaws of the CBOC. I did get one volunteer from the board, and moments ago, I promise I was paying attention to the meeting, but I sent out an email to the remainder of the board to see if there are any last folks who wanted to do the job. Otherwise, we will bring to this board the name of that nominee so that we can make sure that the CBOC has a quorum and can conduct its business. The foundation has raised approximately $4.5 million to date. Our target for the fiscal year was just over $5 million. So in January, we are at $4.5 million. So we will continue to press. But that was also as a result of a couple of large gifts that came in that my team worked on. So we're excited about that, but you can never have enough support for our students. Thank you, Scott, for doing your development work out in the community to find groceries for our students as well. It's really very kind of you. A great example of folks putting their shoulder to the wheel, and any leads you might have, please send them upstairs to the foundation too. We're happy to help. So thanks to you and Ellen and others who are working on that. I think that's all that I have to report. I did receive word early this morning that our longtime friend and supporter, Dick Henning, who many of you know in the community, is in hospice care. So please send him and his family your best wishes. That's all I have.
Thank you. Trustee Casas, other things?
Yeah. Yes, I share your thoughts about Dick Henning. Received word about that. He's a longtime employee, former employee of the district and of the community, and an icon really in our area. I thought your foundation, the foundation meeting was just absolutely fantastic. It was very informative. It was well attended. I think we're going places with the foundation. So thank you, Dennis, for your leadership and your team on presenting the foundation board meeting.
Well, I appreciate that. And thank you for referring a new board member to the foundation. We do have board vacancies. We do have some folks terming out. So we're looking to really diversify the board and look for people to put their shoulder to the wheel to raise funds for us.
And President Whalen, thank you for informing about our friend Lori Scalia. I can never pronounce her name. Scolari. She presented with Chancellor Lambert at the League conference, and it was so fun. It was fun. Made AI relevant, and how it can free up time for the human touch. So thank you, Chancellor Lambert and Lori and somebody from Chaffey College. They did an excellent presentation. As far as, well, I'm glad we passed that immigration resolution. About a month ago, there was a Zoom call that I attended with Congressman Liccardo. And he was asked about immigration rates in our area and why there haven't been, what's going on. And he said, well, number one big reason is that so many, including our district, city of Mountain View, all the cities, the county, have passed resolutions of non-cooperation. So that's one big reason. Two, there is no really big immigration detention center nearby. And so, kind of let us kind of feel at ease. But then at the League conference, the rumors about, well, not the rumors, what happened at City of Santa Barbara and the community college there, and the rumors about Moffett Field and the Super Bowl. And so we thank you, Chancellor Lambert and the team for getting us prepared for what's happening in Minneapolis. We don't want it to happen here. So appreciate that. And there's a lot more to say, but we're tired.
Thank you, Trustee Landsberger. I have nothing further to report because I think everything I was going to report got reported. So on that note, let's call it a day. This meeting's adjourned. I'm so glad. You ready to go home?
Oh, yes.